There's a lot of talk right now that SBI may become the micro strategies of the XRP ecosystem. This was covered by Paul Barron and quite a few people. And this report came out that said, hey, when we look at SBI and their ownership percentage of Ripple and their direct XRP holdings, when you just look at that associated XRP, that's worth more than the whole market cap of SBI. And MicroStrategies, that trades at a premium. So maybe this is something that SBI should explore. This is the issue though. SBI is only 8% holder in Ripple. You don't conquer this issue by looking at the 8% slice. You look at the whole, Ripple company. And that's exactly what they're doing. These people are on the right track. They're just off. It's not going to be SBI. It's going to be Ripple that transitions hopefully to being the micro strategies of XRP. That's what they're looking to do. When Brad, Chris, Monica sit down and figure their future plans, that's what they're honing in on. They want to have Ripple's stock trade at a premium to all their XRP holdings. And really, this relates to a very bullish scenario for XRP holders. We'll dig into it. So what you may see is Ripple spin off portions of its business, and its main focus, its main value is derived from the XRP they hold. And just like MicroStrategy, how they don't sell their Bitcoin, Ripple may no longer sell their XRP in the future. So we'll kind of dig into why that might be, why they may spin off payments. There's this interesting thing going on right now. This is a parallel. When we look at Goldman Sachs, Goldman Sachs built this fantastic platform called GSDAP. And this is a blockchain system for tokenized securities, stocks, bonds. It has a trading system. It's interoperable. It's really a world-class system. And as they're shopping this to their customers, they're all looking at it saying, you know what, now's not the right time. It's very similar to Ripple with payments and big banks. They're all passing. And Goldman Sachs couldn't figure out why, because they're like, this is world-class. It's going to bring down fees, drive a lot more revenue. Why don't these customers want to use this system? Well, while they're customers, they're also competitors. And if Charles Schwab, Fidelity, BlackRock, if they adopt Goldman Sachs system, well, what happens? Well, they will always be under Goldman Sachs rule. Goldman Sachs could unplug them, charge them more fees. You can protect yourself to some degree with contracts, but they're just not willing to give up that control, even though it's a wonderful system. So Goldman Sachs understands this. This is a game of rapid expansion and scale. The first to scale wins the whole prize. So what Goldman Sachs is doing here is it intends to explore strategic opportunities to spin out its GSDAP. So they're going to take it out of Goldman Sachs, put it in its own company, and they're going to sell it off to the industry. Not me, not you, but to their industry, trying to make this an industry standard for tokenized securities. And in that instance, these customers that would not adopt it, now that they own a chunk of it and they're not being controlled by Goldman Sachs, they're going to push for adoption because it's a great system and it's going to help their business. And so when we look at Ripple, they may end up doing the same thing. They may say, you know what, Ripple Pay, a system they never wanted to build before anyway. David Schwartz said, if the rails were there, we'd rather someone else build them. They just don't exist. Ripple likely will spin out payments. Yes, they'll retain ownership, a percentage, but it's going to be owned by the industry. Your JP Morgans, your Bank of Americas, your massive banks, institutions, and governments globally will own it much like SWIFT. And then it goes back to Ripple has their stablecoin, which could transition into a CBDC down the road. They have their custody business, but really the value will be derived long-term by that massive amount of XRP. And I think we'll get to a point where they just stop selling it and they issue shares in Ripple stock. And that's how they will strategically use that leverage to lend out XRP, to stuff liquidity pools with XRP and earn a yield off of it. And much like, Michael Saylor uses leverage so his stock grows at a faster pace than Bitcoin, Ripple could do the same thing, but instead of using leverage, which adds a lot of risk to the equation, they could use XRP in a productive manner. This is where I see them going. Now, this is what's interesting. It's not just about giving a percentage of this payment system Ripple paid to the industry. There's a lot of competition. And the thing is, the other competitors, they're not as incentivized to be so vocal and so transparent. That's why you don't hear about them a lot. A lot of them actually say, oh, we're not doing payments. We're just a custody firm, this and that. They're full of it. 2025, 2026, when we get regulations, this is going to be a vicious fight for the future of payments, and probably one takes it all. They're going to be one industry standard for the rails here, and I think you have to favor Ripple, but they're not the only player here. I'll show you one that Crypto Eddie talked about today, and it's Fireblocks. And people are like, I've never heard of Fireblocks, or they only do in custody. Oh no, they used to be a custody provider for Ripple, but they are doing payments in a big way. And this is interesting. Who is Fireblocks legal counsel? This should be so illegal. You have Jay Clayton sue Ripple, sideline them for years, and go over to their biggest competitor and help them set up shop. And they said originally, oh, it's not a conflict of interest. We're not a payment company. BS. This is one of the biggest competitors out there. When we're looking at this right here, building blocks to deploy blockchain solutions faster, predictable real-time cross-border payment transfers, immediate merchant settlement, and streamlined creator payout. They are looking to build across a multitude of blockchains. Interestingly enough, we see Ethereum, of course, Hedera. They are near Ripple, everything essentially from Ethereum down to Songbird, they are integrated and ready to rock and roll. Now, I think Ripple has a lot of strategic advantages over someone like Fireblocks or JP Morgan's system they have there as well. But there are some big players like this that once we get regulations, they're all going to go live. And you will see some people go with Fireblocks, some people go with Ripple, some people go with Onyx at JP Morgan. And then much like when you saw HD DVDs and Blu-rays or VHS and Betamax, like they will go to a point and someone will get ahead and someone will get an insurmountable lead and they'll just take the whole conglomerate. They'll just take everybody. And that will be the future. Now, the good part for XRP holders, even if it's Fireblocks, probably XRP Ledger will be used to a great extent. Even if it's JP Morgan Onyx, XRP Ledger is great for value transfer flow. It's going to be used. But of course, we want Ripple to take the lead here because they are so tuned into the XRP Ledger. Yes, they're using multi-chains just like this. They're going to use Ethereum, XRP Ledger, a lot of different stuff. But we want Ripple to win. They have a good shot at it. You might put them at the lead. But Fireblocks, they're worth almost the same as Ripple. They're about 9 or 10 billion. Ripple's about 11 or 12. So it's about an even shootout here. It's going to be vicious. It's going to be exciting. But understand this. If this plays out and Ripple wins, you may go from no banks to all of the banks, all the governments, everything adopting this technology and these payment rails in a very violent and fast manner. This is why I said just a week or so ago that I am going to take 20% of my XRP holdings and I'm going to put it to the side for long-term investment because maybe this doesn't work out. But if it does, this would be bigger than you could imagine. And I don't want to just sell off all of that future. It doesn't not going to make a big difference if I take 20% and instead of cashing it out, I just leave it for the long term. And it won't be this long. As soon as we get regs, the race is on and we're going to see who ultimately takes the lead here. It's going to be a shootout, but it's going to be exciting. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.